Morning blues. I was going to start off with UGLY. He ain't got no alibi. He's Maguire. What a total tit. What on earth was Slabhead thinking, honestly? I mean, let's face it, it was going to be a shite holiday no matter what happened, wasn't it? You put yourself in his shoes. You are the most expensive centre-back in the history of English League football. You are earning a ton of cash, and you think at the end of the season, I know, let's go to Mykonos. What a pillock. Anyway, enough of that toffee-nosed Trafford tosspot. I'm Laney, you're you, and this is the Manchester's Blue Breakfast Show. For those of you who are watching outside of the UK, a quick update. It is just normal, everyday British weather. If you're living in the south of England, stay indoors. Don't even think of going out. You know, you're not going to watch the Jag today. Maybe look on eBay. See if you can sort some sandbags out or something, because it's going to be really wet. If you're living anywhere north of Birmingham, put your big coat on. It's that kind of weather, you know. I think outside I would describe it as a prostitute with a front wedgie. It's just unpleasantly damp. Don't go outside if you don't have to. It is miserable. Stay inside, get a brew, get your brekkie, and let's talk City. Alright? So, we've got a lot to cram in today, because it's not going to be as long as normal, this show. I've got house viewing this afternoon, so I'm not going to get my usual nap. So I'm going to try and get through as much as we can. And I am going to start furiously. I'm going to start with the elephant in the room. And no, I don't mean me. I can promise you my trunk isn't big enough to be the elephant in the room. I want to discuss my feelings on Pep. Because if any of you have been paying attention since the I don't know what you'd call it, that thing that happened in Lyon, whatever you want to even describe that as. My feelings on Pep are fairly clear for most. I'm still of the opinion I think he should leave. I think he should resign personally after that performance. It's not going to happen because he's far too stubborn, and I don't think he's going to get sacked because they all want him to stay. But that's my opinion. I always think everyone's entitled to an opinion, rightly or wrongly. I'm quite happy to take the comments that have come my way on that basis. Some people have agreed with my logic, others have disagreed in a logical way. And I also kind of like those comments, that's almost like the what you get from the drunken chest beating bloke. Saturday night, he's had too much special brew, and he's like, that kind of response I've had as well. So, just for clarity, and so we can put this to bed. I'm sorry, I've just seen that 69 people were watching. That was quite funny. Just so we know and put it to bed. First of all, and first and foremost, I don't hate Pep. I don't hate Pep Guardiola, right? And as far as I'm concerned, the only statement you can honestly make about the man is he is the most successful manager we have ever had. Okay, that's undisputed. Okay, he's won more titles than any other manager we've had in our history. He's broken more records than any other manager in our history. Okay, so fact of the matter is, he's the most successful. The one issue I really have is when people say he's the best we've ever had, or he's the best ever. Okay? From my point of view, and just philosophically speaking, and from the definition of the term itself, he can't be the best ever, because you can't compare him to what's gone before, if you get me, okay? You can't compare him and Joe Royle, for instance, okay? Different times, different context, just everything was different, and you can't compare the two. in my eyes. I'm also not saying for at any point I think there was another manager who was better than Pep. Okay? In my honest opinion, I don't think you can actually say any manager was the best we've ever had. Because even if you take the last three, even if you take Pep, Mancini and Pellegrini, I don't even think you can really compare the three of them. You know, they're the three that have really been in charge under our new owners over the last 10 years. Mancini inherited Sparky's squad. You know, they were sitting fourth in the Premier League. They got to a semi-final of the League Cup, and that was about, you know, that was as good as it got. Mancini went and won Premier League, FA Cup. That's, you know, pretty much it. Pellegrini comes along, wins the league. I think it was the League Cup he won, and he got to a semi-final of the Champions League. So there is progress. Pep's come along and made more progress. Okay, that's all I can say. You can go, like, again, you can go back. Even if you look at the likes of like Alan Ball and Frank Clark and Steve Coughlin, there, the rabble we had then, they all had their part to play. What Joe Royal did, he took over, didn't he, from God, I lost track of who he actually took over from in those days. There was that many managers coming and going, but he took over, inherited a fairly crap squad, and you know, he got back-to-back promotions. He was the best at the time. So that's all I will say on the Pep matter. Personally, I don't think he's the best we've ever had, but I don't think any manager we've had is the best we've ever had. I don't think you can have that. You can't compare what we've had. Yes, I still think he should go. I think if you actually sit down and ask yourself honestly, name any other manager that we've had that would have kept his job after what Pep did. You know? So, but hey ho, I'm going to get behind him until the day he leaves, and just put it this way, when he does leave, it's going to be two words coming out of my mouth. It'll either be "I told you so," or it'll be "Blue Moon," that I'll be singing in the shower wearing the bikini, as I promised last week. So, either way, you know. Preetam just asking me how my breakfast was. It's not really breakfast for me, mate. I've been up all night, so I had a couple of cheeseburgers from McDonald's just to keep myself going. So yeah. Well, thanks for asking anyway, mate. Anyway, we're going to press on. Like I said, I'm drawing the line under the whole Pep issue. I just wanted to clear up. You know, I don't hate him. You know, I appreciate all the banter and the comments, but I don't want people thinking I'm full of hate and all miserable about him. We'll get behind him. What's that phrase? In Pep we trust. I hope so. Anyway, next topic. We're going to talk about Zinchenko. Good old Alexander Zinchenko. Bless him. Partly to do with him and partly to do with his new bride, his new wife. Congratulations on that, mate. I hope you enjoyed your wedding night. So yeah, Vlada Sedan. Oh, I'm guessing it's Vlada Zinchenko now. I don't know whether she's took his name or not. If you've missed it, if you haven't been paying attention, she basically came out after the Lyon game and slated Pep big style. Absolutely big style. I kind of feel sorry for her because, to be fair, I haven't really heard much about her apart from people commenting how good she looks, etc., etc. I think she's actually made some valid points analysing the game, and she's just been torn a new one basically and slated for it. You know, some of the things that she came out with were why play three centre backs. She mentioned the quality that we had on the bench. Questioning why you would experiment with such tactics, you know. She basically just turned around and said it's Pep's fault. The Lyon game was Pep's fault. That's what she said, and she said it on her YouTube channel. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, she is a sports journalist in the Ukraine, and I think just like many, you know, famous personalities these days, they've all got their own social media channels that they all broadcast off and voice their own opinions on, and this is what she's done. Now, Alexander has come out and just said he doesn't question what Pep did. He's made the comment, they're all professionals, they're all used to changing tactics and just slotting in and just doing the job that they're asked to do. He's defended his wife in the sense that he's described it, what she said was not about, it wasn't said as a journalist, it wasn't said as a criticism on a professional level. Apparently his missus is a City fan. She's been to every game, home and away. So what she has said was actually as a City fan. Which, on that bit, I mean, to be honest, I don't care whether she said it as a City fan or as a professional journalist. At the end of the day, I'm all about free speech. You say what you want, as long as it's not illegal what you're saying. As long as you're not breaking any laws, you say what you want. No one's going to stop you. And again, personally, I think the way Pep Guardiola conducts himself, he'd have been the first person to sit down and analyse that performance and question himself. Even when we beat Liverpool 4-0, he'd have been looking at that game and thinking what he did wrong, how he could do better. So it's one of them. What I want to know is, do you think people are saying that they should apologise. People are now saying that Alexander Zinchenko is probably on his way out. I personally hope he isn't on his way out. I like Alex. I think he's a good player. He's not the world's best left back. I mean, he's not a left back by trade anyway, but he's not the world's best kind of player. But he's a good player to have in your team. He's adaptable. I think he's still got plenty of room for improvement. But I certainly don't think he should be apologising for his wife. I certainly don't think his wife should apologise for anything that she said. I think everything that they did say was fairly justified, and like I said earlier in the show, it's everyone's entitled to an opinion. I think it was a little harsh that Alexander Zinchenko has had to make a statement on the issue on his wedding day. So I am going to try and get through some of these. I mean, there's so many comments already come through this morning. I'm not going to get a chance to address them all on the show, I am afraid. I'll do my usual of addressing them all, hopefully within the next 24 hours. So you will get a response from me. But I will pick some out if I can. So we've got, it's easy to blame Pep, but I'm sure he knows what he's doing. P.S. Not his fault Sterling missed an open net. No, Ashley, you're right. It's not his fault. It's not his fault that Edison made a howler. But then you can also argue it is his fault that we were in that position to start with. It's his fault that we were 2-1 down. It's his fault we were 1-0 down. If you're going to set up with only 3 attacking players, you're not going to score many goals. So, got to put it that way. Does Pep overthink big games? He never learnt. Poole, Spurs, Leon. Spot on. Overthinks. End of discussion, really. Vincent Kompany is the best midfielder. It's funny because I was actually watching his the highlights from his debut match way back when Hughes started him in midfield, and then he had to drop into central defence because Mika Richards got injured. Played West Ham and won 3-0 with Daniel Sturridge getting his first goal for the club and Ilano getting 2. And Vincent Kompany won man of the match on his debut. He played fantastically well. So yeah, back in the day, they were the good old days. So yeah, let us know your comments about Zinchenko. Do you think he should stay? Do you think he should go? Do you think he should have to have apologised for his girlfriend's comments? Let me know, and I will, like I said, I will respond to them at some point. Khaldoon is my next man. Good old Khaldoon Al Mubarak. I don't know if it's just me, or he really seems to be coming into the forefront a lot more at City. He seems to be a lot more vocal and in the public eye recently. Since the cast decision, I've seen an awful lot of Khaldoon popping in and out, voicing opinions, giving interviews. I know he's always been there, and he's always been very busy with the running of the club. But he just, like I said, it could be just me noticing more. I think we can all agree he's done a good job. Been a very good chairman for the club. A very calm chairman, which I think is what we needed. He's made a couple of comments recently that have grabbed my attention. So, first of all, the praise for Kevin De Bruyne and winning his Player of the Season accolade. You know, he's come out and just said how well deserved it was, and we can all agree it was. One of the other things though that he has said, well there's two things actually. There's the one that he's addressed the situation with the UEFA, that basically he doesn't hold grudges. This was on the Man City interview that he did, the end of season review. And he basically said, he's not holding grudges with the UEFA. As far as he's concerned, it's all done and dusted. Move on. Which I think is best way forward. I still have my reservations. I still don't think this is going to... I've said it from day one. Before the decision came out, I said if we get away with it... Well, not if we get away with it, but if we're found to be not guilty and the ban was overturned, I said this witch hunt's going to carry on. So time will tell with that. Hopefully it is over and done with. But I do like the fact that he just wants to start a clean slate. I think that's quite admirable. As far as I was concerned, I was all for suing UEFA for defamation of character, along with Der Spiegel, for all the shizer that they broadcast and put out into the public eye. But I suppose it takes a bigger man, and I think he's doing that really well. And the other thing that he's come out with is he promises City fans new signings before the start of the season. And he's mentioned this box, as he describes it. It's a range of players between the ages of 20 and 25. And that's basically his target sort of age gap. His age group, if you like, for new players for City. And he then went on to say that sometimes opportunities come up that fit with what the manager wants and what the squad need, and that might be outside of the box. So the question is that opening up the idea that this Koulibaly saga is going to continue? Does it put Koulibaly in a position where we might sign him? I hope to bloody God we don't. I've just seen now Emma Williamson, morning. Would we be happy to see Cancelo take the left back position instead of signing someone? To be honest, we don't need a left back as far as I'm concerned. Yes, our left backs are weak. I honestly think, but I've said this before again. What serious world-class left backs are out there at the minute? You've got Robertson at Liverpool, who's a quality player, and then maybe a handful of others, but they're not going to be going for cheap. We've got Mendy, who on his day when he's fit and healthy is a very good left back. Zinchenko is great going forward and can play left back. Angelino, he just needs a bit of time, I think, to settle into the Premier League. I mean, you can't question his quality. The lad's just got to a semi-final of the Champions League. He's played fantastically at Leipzig. I've seen a few comments dotted around online saying he doesn't play, Pep doesn't play with wing backs, and that's why Angelino doesn't fit with the system. Pep plays with these inverted wing backs. So instead of them just bombing up on the overlap, they sort of cut into the centre midfield, which allows the likes of Silva and De Bruyne to go roaming. So I don't think that's too much of an ask. I think Zinchenko certainly fits that bill quite well. But honestly, with the other positions we need, I think we definitely need another centre back. I still believe we need a striker. I'd rather have one now rather than wait until Aguero's gone. I think left back is a position we can quite happily get away with as it stands. We'll just see who's going to be back up for Walker. Don't forget we've got Yan Couto. Yan Couto has just signed, and he's supposed to be this really great player. Fingers crossed. He sort of hits the ground running. But you've got Mendy, Angelino, and Zinchenko who can all play left back, and then you've got Walker, Cancelo, and Couto who can play right back. So we've got plenty of options. We don't really need another. We really don't need another full-back, in my opinion. But yeah, it's got Koulibaly to say. The more and more I see it, Paul Downing's just put on Koulibaly equals Mangala. Can we accept that Jesus doesn't fill Aguero's boot? No, he doesn't. An out-and-out striker is what we need, because Jesus isn't the out-and-out striker. He isn't that Aguero type of player. It's hard. Again, you can't compare things that are so different. So yeah. Sorry. So yeah, let us know your comments on what you think about Khaldoon. We have just been touching on Angelino. He's been in. Well, Nagelsmann has made a comment recently in the press. I believe it was yesterday. He's come out and said that he's very confident a deal can be done for Angelino. And not only is he confident a deal can be done, he's also confident that Angelino wants the move to happen. Which is... I can believe it. I mean, why wouldn't... You're in Angelino's boots, you've come through City's academy, they binned you off. You showed how good you were in Holland, they want you back. You don't really get your chance, they bin you off again. All of a sudden you're really good again, He has said, to be fair to Angelino, he has said he wants to fight for his place. But then, you're already getting first choice football at Leipzig, you're with a very exciting young manager. You've just got to the semi-final of the Champions League. Why would you want to come back to City and spend half the season sat on the bench at best? Just seems daft. Really does seem daft. So, I'd be gutted if Angelino goes, because I think he's a bit of a blue. I know he's a Spaniard, but I think he's got a lot of love for this club, and I'm all for players that love the club. That's what we want at City. But we'll see what happens with that as that progresses. Whether it's just paper talk, whether it's got any truth behind it. It feels really weird because there's only a few weeks really left until the season starts again, but the season's only just finished, so I think it's going to be a very busy couple of weeks in the transfer window, and we'll just have to see what happens. So yeah, I hope he stays, but it'd be good to see what your opinions on Angelino will be. I think he played really good for Leipzig. I think that's a given. The question is whether he could do it at City. Or you never know, maybe Angelino could be that cup player that we need. We mentioned on the previous podcast that Gundogan seems to be one of those, and Jesus for that matter. Gundogan and Jesus both seem to play really, really well in cup matches, whether it's domestic or European. If you look at Jesus' record, yes, he scored plenty of goals, but he scored a hat-trick in every competition bar the Premier League. So maybe having Angelino at City would be great for rotation, keeping players fresh, especially when you look at Mendy's injury concerns. Seen a couple of things mentioning about Ake and where he's going to fit in. There's still a little piece of, after seeing that that sort of piece in the media the other week about the Ake signing, and it was going back to what Pep started the season when we won the Centurions, the when we broke all records and pissed the league easily. He started that season off with 3 at the back and the wing backs, which you could have Ake at left back, left centre back, Laporte in the middle, take your pick for the right centre back, and then you've got the likes of Walker and Angelino, for instance, or Zinchenko or Mendy, whoever. It's that could be a possibility for Ake. The other option is as well, obviously, he could be just rotated. We'll just have to see what happens with Ake. I think he's going to be quite interested. Maybe he'll rotate them, but will he keep Laporte happy if that's what happens? I honestly don't know. I kind of give up trying to guess what Pep's going to do anyway. He'll probably put Ake in central midfield to take over from where David Silva left. Phil Foden at right back, Kyle Walker in net. Stranger things have happened. And this is City. I wouldn't put it past Pep either, to be honest. That's a point I will just quickly address. Who was that? Let's give a name check to Andrew Evans. Delap looks a cracking prospect. No, we haven't signed Rory Delap on loan. I know we've got bloody Carson on loan for another season. Woo. All the excitement. All those young kids rushing out for Carson goalkeeper shirts. But no. Young Delap. If any of you haven't seen the goal yet, get on the Manchester's Blue page, scroll down, click on the link and just watch the goal that he scored. It's a really well taken goal. It's nice to see that we actually have a promising striker in the City Academy. Usually we have fantastic, we've got fantastic midfielders, good defenders, excellent goalkeepers coming through our academy usually. We always seem to do shite when it comes to strikers. But this could be a real gem. And let's just hope he gets the opportunity to prove himself and he doesn't end up at bloody Girona or, Farmer FC or whatever. Let's keep him here. Let's give him the chance he deserves. Well, hopefully he'll earn his chance. And that would be a good way of keeping our homegrown players. The other thing I will address, because I've seen an awful lot of comments flash past, is about Messi. I haven't heard any concrete rumours. I'm kind of ignoring all the crap surrounding Messi because, it's Leo Messi. Every journalist, Messi's thrown his doll out the pram because Barca got battered, so every journalist now is milking himself at the prospect of there might be a transfer story. It's one of them. Yes, Jack, it is Rory's son. So yeah, Messi. Bottom line is, yes, I would have him at City if we can get him cheap. If he just stays at Barca until the end of his contract and joins City, I'd be happy. He'd bring in plenty of money in revenue, sales, commercially. And I think he would be fantastic for younger players to watch. Phil Foden could learn a couple of things off him. I don't think Tommy Doyle's that kind of player, bless him, but Jayden Braff, I think he could pick up some stuff off Messi. And again, I like looking well into the future. We've already got Sergio Aguero playing for us, and he's now club legend. He's been like the best thing for us since sliced bread. He's got a little lad, Benjamin. Now that little boy, bless him. His dad is a City legend. His granddad is Maradona, which speaks for itself, and his godfather is Messi. Now, if we can have two of that trinity, both in City shirts, guiding Benjamin towards signing on for us, I'd be happy. So that's my opinion on Messi. I think if he did come to City, I'd struggle to figure out where he would fit. And I really don't think... It's like, who would you drop? He's well in his 30s. He's never played in the Premier League. Where would you put him? Who would you drop for him? I wouldn't drop Foden. I wouldn't drop Kevin De Bruyne. You know, I think he'd be a rotation player. I think he'd kind of mimic what Robinho did as well. I think he'd be brilliant for so long. And then, you know, we'd end up with Doncaster away in round 3 of the FA Cup. It'd be cold, frosty, frigid. You know, first weekend in January, and some big hairy bastard would just snap him in half, and that'd be it, and done. He'd be like, "Oh, my leg, I need surgery, send me to Spain." And he'd never come back. He'd be on the beach in Bath, and that'd be him done. So, but again, if he's a freebie or cheap, why not? What's the worst that could happen, eh? You go back 20 odd years ago, it was like, ooh, Jerry Creaney, yay. Right, I'm going to end it now, guys. There is one last thing we need to address. Now, one of the viewers, Mr. Tom Macon, sent the Manchester Blue team a poem. Now, it's funny he sent this, because he sent it just after last week's show. I can't remember what day, because I've slept since then. But it's funny that he sent it, because I was actually thinking of trying to do a poem myself for David Silva. You know, kind of just like one of those thank you kind of poems. Just a nice little touch. And he saved me the trouble of having to try and do one myself. It's absolutely brilliant. And he has asked if I could read it out, and I gladly said I would. He'd also like to dedicate it to his uncle, Martin Macon, who unfortunately has recently passed away of cancer. And I'm guessing the vast majority of people who will watch this will all know that cancer is one hell of a bitch. You know, cancer is more of an arsehole than any gloating Liverpool fan. You know, it's an awful illness. Doesn't care how old you are, where you're from, what you believe in. It's an absolute shit. Okay? So my condolences and, you know, sympathies from myself and the Manchester Blue team going to Mr. Macon. He was a lifelong Blue, and David Silva was his hero. So I am going to read this out for Tom. Now, I'm going to apologise now. I read this. I'm one of them. If you're going to do something, you've got to do it right. And I read through it, and to me, this should be read out in a proper Manc accent. You know, your Johnny Marr, Ian Cheeseman, Noel Gallagher, that kind of thing. And I can't do that. Okay, my Lee accent is just too broad. Can't do it. So then I thought, well, I've got to channel the artiste, because I've got to do this justice. I was thinking of the other great people. You got like Peter O'Toole or Ian McKellen, you know, the classics. And I can't do that neither, because I'm too common, too poor. But for those of you who know me, I am half Welsh. And J Barber, spot on. I can't repeat that because it's too early, but well done. So yeah, I am half Welsh. And for those of you who know much about the Welsh, we do like our poetry. We even have awards for it at the National Eisteddfod. And so I'm going to channel my inner Max Boyce. So, no laughing at my Welsh accent. But I'm going to do this... hopefully, I'll do this justice for Tom and for his uncle. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this. An Ode to El Mago by Tom Macon. Get in the moment. He came from Spain, not all knew his name. With style and grace, with a smile on his face. He glided and turned, and flicked and spun. if only we knew what was to come. He led by example, he shone in the dark. He would only bite with no need to bark. He brought class with ease, with a feint and a tease. He would humble the greatest, like you wouldn't believe. Loved by the Blues and envied by the Reds, week after week putting games to bed. Hypnotic dances from the little magician, making dreams come true with his ambition. He rose higher each week without a fall, doing things only he could do with a ball. Now at the end, the world knows his name. El Mago, David Silva, we'll see you again. Tom, I couldn't have put it better myself, mate. So, I hope you all enjoyed that blues. Yeah, sorry it's a slightly shorter show today. Less of my shite. Like I said, I will get back to all your comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for throwing me the massive pile of stuff I've got to get through tonight. It is deeply appreciated. Stay tuned. There's going to be obviously more stuff coming this week. There will be some podcasts. There will be plenty of content. Let us know your views. Let us know your opinions. And above all, stay safe. Yeah. COVID's still knocking about, being its typical arty self. Yeah, just stay safe, guys. Make sure we make it to the start of this season, yeah. And as City Dave would say, City till we die. Take care, guys.